Now listen, it's worrying times. You might lose your health care, you might struggle to put food on the table, but poor MAGA Mike needs a wee nap.
Speaking of which, let's just check in to see how the negotiations are going.
People keep commenting to me, you look so tired on TV. I am so tired because we're not sleeping a lot. We're working overtime.
I'm glad that you saw my tweet. It lasted 3 million nasty people on the internet. But I knew exactly what I was saying, because the point is that with great power comes great responsibility. I heard that once in a great Spider-Man movie. And Republicans are in charge. They're not 60 votes in charge, but they've got a majority of the way there. And when you are in charge and you don't have all the votes that you need, it is incumbent upon you to make a deal with the people whose votes you need. And based on prior voting for CRs, you know that there are moderate Democrats who would certainly be willing to have a conversation with you if you would do that properly timed, not open up the government and then make the same promises that they have for months. I mean, this has been going on since the big, beautiful bill was signed, that they've been saying, yeah, we want to do something on ACA premiums. And then they keep kicking the can down the road.
It's tiring gutting healthcare for millions of Americans while the man that you serve unapologetically redecorates a house that he doesn't own to the tune of multi-millions. As the federal government remains shut down for weeks at this point, Speaker Mike Johnson said that he continues to have people coming up to him and saying, quote, "You look so tired on TV," which he said, "I am so tired because we're not sleeping a lot. We are working overtime." Yes, this is from the same House Speaker whose chamber hasn't held a single vote in over a month, while programs that deliver healthcare and nutrition support to Americans hang in the balance. And of course, this went viral on social media and became the topic of conversation during a Fox News panel, in which liberal voice of sanity Jessica Tarlov opted to weigh in, much to the dismay of her co-hosts. And you can often tell when they're not thrilled because of how quiet the studio gets, rarely, when the truth is aired.
The reality is that this has been a stalemate for 30 days. And it's not just Democrats. You also have one of the most conservative Republican senators, Josh Hawley, who says, at least please move money around to feed people. Why not consider that?
Because if you deviate from the goal of reopening the entire government, Chuck Schumer and the radicals over there will continue to play games with people's paychecks, their livelihoods. And if you do just part of this, it will reduce the pressure for them to do all of it, to do their basic job, and that is reopen the government. This is very real and very serious, and they can end it today. They can do it right now. All they have to do is, we just need 5 more Democrats in the Senate to help us reach the 60-vote threshold. We don't have enough Republicans to do the right thing on our own. We need them to do the right thing.
We know that Harry Enton is about to, maybe while we're speaking right now, there will be another clip with the reverse story out about what's going on. And so I'll do the work for him. Harry Enton put up the Navigator survey, which shows that the American public is blaming the Republicans by 14 points now, and it was just 10 points last week. The story about Democrats cutting off SNAP benefits and that we're the heartless ones and Mike Johnson feels terrible is how you say BS. Mike Johnson, in his big, beautiful bill, $186 billion gone from the SNAP program. And in the 2018 shutdown, Donald Trump made sure that people got their SNAP benefits because he knows that it's important. And that's why Josh Hawley wants to have a standalone bill about SNAP. Josh Hawley, who also wants a standalone bill to make sure that people get their Medicaid coverage back because the big, beautiful bill takes it away. So, Gregory, that is how I have shown you that my tweet wasn't dumb. That I'm not dumb, and that this is the Republicans' fault. If you are in charge, you have to negotiate. And just saying over and over, we need to open the government, and then we promise we'll do it.
Translation, we have to negotiate, meaning we have to give in to you.
You have to give something. That is how this works.
And if you look to who the public blame for this stalemate, right, I'll give you a hint. It's those with all the power. That's right. A recent poll found that 45% of U.S. adults hold Republicans, including their leadership, quote, mainly responsible for the shutdown, while only 33% blame Democrats. And if you look at independents, they mirror this trend. So when the public thinks you are to blame, not just your opposition, that's pretty telling, right?
This is not a Republican shutdown. It is a Schumer Democrat shutdown.
Here's the thing about that, though, because Republicans have total control of every branch of government. That literally means they control the calendar, what our schedule looks like, when we need to be in town, when we vote, and what we take votes on. And Mike Johnson just canceled everything for the House this week. He chose to cancel all votes, all hearings, everything. to keep the House shut down. So it's a little rich to blame the minority party who has absolutely no power in this situation. This is a Republican-run government.
I heard you earlier say that you side with President Trump on anything that he says. Well, I just read an article this morning that said he absolutely wholeheartedly believes that there needs to be legislation put in so that we do not miss a paycheck. You have the power to do that. And as a Republican, I'm very disappointed in my party, and I'm very disappointed in you because you do have the power to call the House back. You did that, or you refused to do that just for a show.
Meanwhile, the president, well, he doesn't seem to care considering he's sharing images of a lavish renovation of the historic Lincoln bathroom at the White House, leaving no details out. It's complete with polished black and white statuary marble and gold accents, if that helps with all the starvation and everything. This comes as tens of millions of Americans face potential healthcare disruption and benefit losses due to the shutdown, right? And critics are obviously calling the timing tone deaf, which it is. And it's a sign of what is often the case with this administration, misplaced priorities. You see, when people are worrying about coverage, the decor is what the president wants to talk about.
And you can't make this up. While the American people are suffering during this government shutdown, as people are fearful they may lose their health care, their SNAP benefits may go away, Donald Trump is posting this. I renovated the Lincoln bathroom in the White House. It was renovated in the 1940s in Art Deco. He's posting about marble floors and marble toilet bowls. And I mean, it's been post after post, and golden handles in the sinks. I mean, is he just trying to rub it in right now in people's faces who are suffering? I want to bring on Zoran Mamdani to the show. Great to see you again. And, you know, we had you on here before the primaries, and one of the things we talked about is how you took a tour across the boroughs and you were listening to what people were saying, including Trump supporters. And as you see right now, the American people are suffering. Trump made all of these promises, none of them being delivered on the issue of affordability or any of this stuff. He's posting marble this and the Kennedy Center is going to be expensive rugs and carpets. I mean, what's going on, Zoran?
You know, there was not a single New Yorker that I spoke to that told me the reason they were voting for Donald Trump was for him to spend $300 million on a renovation of a White House ballroom. And what I heard instead is exactly what you alluded to. New Yorkers who were fed up with the cost of living and who wanted a president who would deliver on the promise of cheaper groceries, deliver on the promise of lowering that cost of living. And instead, this $300 million, which could have been used to feed 100,000 New Yorkers, provide them with SNAP benefits, is instead being used for these personal refurbishments. And I think it just speaks to the fact that this isn't about, you know, whether it's possible to do so. It's just a question of want. Donald Trump does not want to provide health care for 4 million Americans. He does not want to ensure that SNAP benefits continue for close to 2 million New Yorkers. He does not want to actually take care of the very people whose despair that he diagnosed and then whose support that he betrayed. And it's time to actually offer a politics in this country that doesn't just say that working people are struggling, but then does something about it.
But it's indicative of this administration, helmed by a man who promised he'd bring prices down and make life easier for Americans day one. He's not only failed drastically, but to the point that even the best verbal gymnasts at Fox and Newsmax can't help him spin it.
You know, the government shutdown itself, you know, you can go a couple weeks, but as you pointed out, you know, our economy is not great. There's a lot of strain. This injects another degree of uncertainty and distraction in the economy, and it's going to affect. And we're going to see WIC go away. We're going to see benefits of people that really need help. They won't be able to get it.
U.S. Retail and Restaurant Index is showing signs of deceleration. In fact, it's going to soon be below the sweet spot. Let's bring in the Director of Consumer Research, Jerome Martinez. Jerome, what's the sweet spot?
Well, the sweet spot is what you've been seeing even before the pandemic, that the numbers initially started double digits and then remained for the most part between 3 and 5% for revenue. That is now expected to decline to 1.9% this holiday
season. And it held up pretty good. I mean, 33, yes. 20s and the 20, yes. 37. So we did have the third third quarter of 24 that we dipped single digits for a moment there, but we had the rebound.
Yes.
Now it doesn't feel like we're going to rebound.
No, it doesn't. And I agree with your previous guest here, whereas that the affluent consumer is the one doing the heavy lifting already. We're already seeing that in our data. When you see it, the biggest winner within this sector, it's the hotels, leisure, and travel.
Right.
And this is telling us that the luxury consumer are the ones going and booking those travel spending. We're seeing robust spending there, whereas the middle and lower class consumer are being squeezed.
It feels
You know, back in April, there was this pause. And back then, Peter Navarro, White House senior trade counselor, said we get the potential here to do 90 trade deals in 90 days. As you look at the graphic, the trade deals that have been finalized, there have really only been 7 official agreements that have been reached. So for the people who look at that and say, this is a danger sign looking at 2026, what do you say to them?
Sure. So first of all, the deals we've reached cover a huge percentage of U.S. trade. With Canada and Mexico, a lot of the trade between Canada and Mexico is flowing quite freely. Canada had some retaliation, which they removed. We had Turkey that had retaliation they removed. So there's actually no more retaliation in the world except for China.
But as I said, it's a trying time for Americans. Not to worry though. The real issue here, MAGA Mike losing some beauty sleep.
Want to stay plugged in? Become a subscriber to our Substack at MeidasPlus.com. You'll get daily recaps from Ron Filipkowski, ad-free episodes of our podcast, and more exclusive content only available at MeidasPlus.com.